Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be exploring, well, the world of digital curriculum. It's always changing.
Always evolving.
Yeah, always evolving, exactly. We're diving into this excerpt. It's from the eighth edition of Developing the Curriculum.
Oh, yeah?
And basically, we're trying to unpack how technology is really shaping education as we know it.
Yeah, it's a really, really interesting topic because it's not just about using like the newest gadgets in the classroom.
Yeah.
It's more about like understanding these really fundamental shifts that are happening in how we learn and think about like what skills we need, to thrive in this digital world that we all live in now.
Hmm. The book actually starts off with this really great analogy. It talks about the evolution of the cell phone. I'm gonna think back to those like massive brick phones,
Yeah, huge ones.
the huge ones we had like way back when, and now we're all walking around with these powerful computers in our pockets that connect us instantly to like a world of information, right?
It's
Wow.
incredible. And that's exactly the challenge for education today,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, how do we keep up with this rapid advancement? It puts so much pressure on schools to adapt and to equip students for a globalized digital world.
Mhm.
And they have to do all of this a lot of the time with very limited resources.
Well, absolutely. It makes you wonder, is it even about the devices themselves, or is it more about like our approach to learning in this new age, right? Like how we think about it.
Totally. The book uses this phrase, new literacies.
Hmm.
And what they're getting at is like, it's not just about reading and writing anymore. It's also about like critically evaluating all this information that we see constantly online.
That's so true. Every time I think about it, every time you scroll through your social media feed or, you click on an article, you're just bombarded with information, right? Like,
Yeah.
how do you even decide what to trust? You
Yeah.
know, what's credible? What's maybe like got a little bias to it, or what's just straight up fake news?
It's like you need these mental filters, right?
Yeah.
The book calls them new literacies, right?
Hmm.
And there are things like fact checking and like really understanding the source's motivations or recognizing when someone's trying to like manipulate you emotionally with what they're putting out there.
It's almost like you have to become like an internet detective
In a way, yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah. And these skills are what help you navigate the digital world effectively and responsibly. And they're absolutely crucial for like especially young people who are growing up like completely immersed in this online world, right?
Right. Yeah. So the book actually goes on to highlight some really cool ways that the classroom itself is being transformed. They talk about online learning, blended learning, and then, of course, mobile learning as some of the major trends that we're seeing.
Yeah.
What's so fascinating about these is like each one offers these different possibilities to actually improve how we learn, which is like so exciting.
Yeah, totally. It's, exciting stuff. But at the same time, it's really important to remember that technology is just a tool, right? Like the key here is integrating it with strong teaching methods, what people in education call pedagogy.
Right. Pedagogy.
We need to make sure that the same principles of effective teaching apply, whether we're in a traditional classroom or if we're learning online.
Hmm. Okay, so let's unpack these trends a little bit further. First up, online learning. I mean, this has become so popular, and I feel like we've all had some experience with it, over the past few years, especially. What stood out to you about the successes and challenges with this approach to learning?
Well, one of the biggest things is it offers so much flexibility and opens up access to education for like a ton of people who might not have been able to, access it otherwise.
Yeah.
But there's this big misconception that online learning means the instructor doesn't do as much or their role isn't as big.
Right.
It's pretty much the opposite. The instructor's role is crucial in like building relationships, fostering a sense of community, and providing support, which you have to do online just like you would in a physical classroom.
I completely agree. I've taken some online courses, and the ones that really worked for me, like that I did well in, were the ones where the instructor was really involved. It's like they figured out how to be present even though they were in this like virtual space.
Right. And that's a great point. And it highlights something that institutions really need to think about the curriculum they offer online.
Yeah.
And then also the technical abilities of both the instructors and the students.
Oh, for sure.
You need teachers who can create engaging online learning experiences and students who, have the digital literacy skills to actually thrive in that environment.
Yeah. It's more than just like, uploading a bunch of lectures and calling it a day.
Exactly.
It needs to be designed with intention.
100%. And speaking of blending different approaches, that leads us to the next trend, blended learning, which is where things get really innovative because you're combining the best of both worlds,
Yeah.
online and traditional instruction.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued by this one. It seems like it could offer so much potential to personalize learning, but it also feels like it would require a lot from the teachers.
It definitely does. To create a successful blended learning program, teachers need to be skilled in, you know, both environments,
Wow.
both the physical classroom and the virtual one.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like being bilingual,
Ooh.
in the sense of like understanding the nuances of both traditional teaching and online instruction.
That's a great analogy. It
Like,
makes me think about like professional development teachers need to make this work.
Yeah.
They need training and support to actually effectively integrate technology into their teaching, whether it's fully online or in this, blended learning model.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we've got online learning, we've got blended learning. I'm sensing a theme here. But let's be honest, when we talk about technology in the classroom, we can't ignore like the elephant in the room, or should I say the mini computer in everyone's pocket? Let's talk mobile learning.
Mobile learning. It presents this unique challenge and opportunity in education, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like their potential for learning is incredible. Imagine, accessing information instantly, collaborating with your classmates on projects from anywhere, or like having learning experiences that are tailored to your individual needs.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have to acknowledge the potential for distraction.
Right. Is that student looking up historical facts or are they texting their friends?
Exactly.
Finding that balance is key. And it makes me think that, like, it's not just on the teachers, right? Like, parents and administrators, I feel like, probably have a role to play here, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mobile learning raises really important questions about digital citizenship, online safety, and just creating a learning environment that's supportive, but where technology is being used responsibly and for like a real purpose.
Mm-hmm.
These are conversations that need to be happening not just in schools, but also in homes and like across society as a whole.
So in this first part of our deep dive, we've started to see how technology is like really transforming the whole educational landscape. It's creating both opportunities and challenges for like, students and educators. And we've started to explore this idea of developing new literacies to navigate the digital world and uncover all the exciting possibilities, but also the like complex considerations of online learning, blended learning, and mobile learning.
And we're just getting started.
We're just getting started. There's so much more to discuss.
We've got to talk about like how technology can be used to assess learning and personalized instruction.
Yeah.
And then there's the rise of open educational resources and that whole movement. And then, of course, the really critical importance of digital citizenship in this super connected world that we live in.
Definitely. So stay tuned for part 2, where we'll continue our deep dive into this fascinating world of digital curriculum.
Welcome back to our deep dive into digital curriculum.
Before we went on to part 2, we were talking about mobile learning and how it's got all this potential, but also all this potential for distraction.
Yeah, definitely. That's a perfect bridge to our next topic, which is computer-based assessments.
Okay.
And we're not just talking about like replacing paper tests with screens here.
Okay, so you're saying there's like something deeper going on?
Absolutely. Computer-based assessments, they give us this really incredible ability to collect data about how students are learning, and then use that data to actually improve teaching.
So it's like instead of just grading a test, we can use technology to actually like get a much clearer picture of a student's strengths and weaknesses.
Right.
And then we can tailor instruction to their specific needs.
Exactly. Think about all those like check for understanding moments that teachers use all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
To see if students are grasping a concept. With computer-based assessments, that feedback can happen instantly.
Oh, wow.
A teacher can address a misconception or reinforce a concept right away.
That's amazing. It's almost like having a personalized tutor for every student, constantly monitoring their progress and providing, individualized support. I can see how this would be a game changer, especially for students who, might be struggling in a traditional classroom setting.
And it's not just about individualized feedback either. Computer-based assessments can analyze trends and patterns across like a whole class or even an entire school.
Oh, wow.
Imagine being able to identify areas where, a lot of students are struggling and then adjust teaching strategies accordingly.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. I'm actually really excited to talk about this next topic, open educational resources, or OER.
Yes.
It seems like this has the potential to really revolutionize education.
It really does. OER is all about making high-quality educational materials, things like lesson plans, textbooks, videos, you name it, freely available to anyone.
Like democratizing knowledge, right? Like imagine a world where every student, regardless of their background or their location, has access to the same incredible learning resources. It sounds almost too good to be true.
It's a powerful idea, and it's definitely gaining traction.
Yeah.
But like anything, there are challenges.
Okay.
Quality control's a big one. Since anyone can create and share OER, it's super important for teachers to really carefully evaluate these resources.
So it's not just about like finding free stuff online. It's about making sure that it's accurate and it's aligned with, learning goals and it's appropriate for the students.
Exactly. Teachers need to become discerning consumers of OER, just like they would with any other teaching material. But fortunately, there are strategies and resources to help teachers navigate the world of OER and find those high-quality materials that meet their specific needs.
That's great. So OER is clearly a promising development, but, it requires some careful thought and a critical eye.
Yeah.
Speaking of navigating the digital world thoughtfully, let's talk about a topic that kind of extends beyond the classroom: digital citizenship.
Ah, yes. It's more important than ever to prepare students to be responsible, ethical, and informed citizens in the online world.
It's not just about knowing how to use technology. It's about using it, for good.
Right?
And understanding the impact that it has on ourselves and others.
Exactly. We need to equip students with the knowledge and the skills to protect their privacy, to communicate effectively and respectfully online, and to recognize and avoid things like online scams and misinformation.
It's like teaching them the rules of the road for the internet.
It really is.
And it's not just on teachers, right? This feels like a conversation that needs to be happening in homes and communities as well.
Absolutely. Raising good digital citizens is a shared responsibility.
Yeah.
Schools, families, and communities all have a role to play. And there's some great resources out there to help guide those conversations. There are organizations that are dedicated to online safety, media literacy, and digital citizenship education.
We'll definitely include some of those resources in the show notes for our listeners.
Perfect.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, exploring how technology is transforming like every facet of education, from how we teach and how we learn to the tools we use and the very spaces where learning happens.
Right.
We've talked about the need for these new literacies to navigate the digital world, the exciting possibilities of online and blended learning, the power of computer-based assessments to personalize instruction, the promise of open educational resources to democratize knowledge, and the crucial importance of digital citizenship.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
I know, there's still so much to discuss.
There's so much more to explore. I mean, we could spend hours talking about, the ethical implications of artificial intelligence in education, or the ways that virtual reality and augmented reality are starting to change how we think about learning spaces and learning experiences. The possibilities are endless.
That's so true. So stay with us for part 3, where we'll wrap up this deep dive into digital curriculum. Welcome back to the deep dive. We've covered so much already, talking about new literacies, online learning, blended learning, and then computer-based assessments, and of course those amazing open educational resources.
It is easy to get, caught up in the excitement of all these new tools and approaches.
Right.
But we have to remember that, technology is just a means to an end.
You're right. It's so easy to think that just by adding technology, we're automatically improving education.
Right.
It's not that simple.
It's not that simple at all.
Yeah.
The real goal of education, whether it's, happening online or in a traditional classroom, is to help students develop the knowledge and the skills and the, mindsets that they need to actually thrive in the world. And technology can be a powerful tool for achieving that goal, but only if it's used thoughtfully and intentionally.
So it's not about throwing out traditional teaching methods and replacing them with shiny new tech gadgets?
Not at all.
Okay.
It's about finding ways to really integrate technology effectively into the learning process, to enrich those traditional approaches.
Yeah.
Think of it as like finding that sweet spot where the power of technology meets the heart of good teaching.
It's like using technology to create those aha moments for students, to make learning more engaging, more personalized, and ultimately more effective, maybe even more fun, right?
Absolutely. And one of the things that I find most exciting about technology in education is its potential to reach students who might struggle in in those more traditional classroom settings,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Think about students who learn at different paces, or they have different learning styles, or they might just need additional support.
Mm-hmm.
Technology can provide that individualized feedback and create accessible learning environments.
Yeah.
And even open up new worlds of learning that they go way beyond the four walls of a classroom.
That's a great point. It's not, it's not an either or situation.
Right.
It's about finding that right blend of digital and traditional approaches to really create the best possible learning environment for each individual student.
And that's where the real challenge and the real excitement
Yeah.
lie, right?
Yeah.
It's about embracing the possibilities of technology while also, staying true to that fundamental purpose of education,
Well,
to empower students to reach their full potential, to prepare them not just for the jobs of today, but for the jobs that haven't even been invented yet.
it's about using technology to create a brighter future for all learners, a future where everyone has the opportunity to discover their passions, develop their talents, and then contribute to the world in these really meaningful ways.
And that's a future worth striving for, right? A future where technology is being used to break down those barriers,
Yeah.
to create more equitable access to quality education, and to empower every student to reach their full potential.
That's a powerful vision, and it's really inspiring to think about the role that technology can play in making that vision a reality.
It has been a fascinating deep dive today, hasn't it?
It really has.
We've explored so many different facets of this evolving landscape of digital curriculum, from those big picture trends to the nuanced challenges and those exciting opportunities.
I feel like I've learned so much, and I hope our listeners have too. We've talked about how technology is reshaping how we even think about literacy, about the potential and the pitfalls of online and blended learning, the power of data to, personalize instruction, the democratizing force of those open educational resources, and the critical importance of digital citizenship.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought.
Okay.
Technology is always changing, but the fundamental goals of education, they remain constant.
Mm-hmm.
So let's embrace those possibilities.
Yeah.
Let's keep questioning, let's keep exploring, let's keep learning, and let's work together to create a world where every learner really has the opportunity to thrive.
Beautifully said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of digital curriculum. Until next time, keep those minds curious and those imaginations sparked